going on, guys? So hopefully, you guys can hear me. I'm actually at the hotel gym. What was that? I'm not in Boston. I'm actually in East Rutherford. I'm 2 minutes away from MetLife Stadium. But that's not why I'm doing this video. Hopefully nobody walks in while I'm doing the video. But just wanted to get some thoughts off my mind as I'm on the treadmill. Just doing a light warm up. So I want to discuss this Logan Ryan thing. I also want to discuss this Ricky Seals-Jones signing, which will be the minor part of the video. So let's get that out of the way first. And then I got some big talk about this Logan Ryan cut. A little spoiler, going to fray away from this thing called the popular opinion. Let's talk about Ricky Seals-Jones. The New York Giants signed him on Wednesday night. He's, I'm going to say, in his almost early 30s. I might not be accurate with that. But I think he was drafted in like 2015 by the Cardinals or something like that. Was with them until 2017. Then he went to a different, amount of teams in a few years. I remember he was with the Washington football team the last 2 years. He was with the Chiefs, so there's some familiarity there with Mike Kafka. And then before that, he was with the Cleveland Browns. So he's not a great blocker. In terms of the running game. But in the passing game, he's a decent receiver. He'll probably be a tight end 2, tight end 3, but I think the Giants are smart enough in terms of this coaching staff that if they don't feel that he's good to block, then they're not going to put him in that situation. Kind of like what the coaching staff the last few years did with Evan Ingram. So, just some stats to read off. A piece of paper that I have. Seals-Jones played in 13 games last year, 2 touchdowns, 30 receptions, 271 yards. So, decent tight end. Giants have a lot of work to do with that position, though, because it can't just be this guy and Rice and John or Chris Myrick. But I know the New York Giants won't butcher the tight end position like that. Let me speed this thing up a little bit. Let's talk about this Logan Ryan thing. He was cut today, at least when I'm doing this. It is 11:20. That's why I came down here. Nobody's down here. Gym's open 24 hours, so I could have came down here at 2 a.m. if I wanted to do a video, but decided not to. So Logan Ryan was cut when I was leaving for Jersey, actually. And there was some rumors about how much this cap hit is going to be in terms of dead cap, how much of savings it's going to be. So Jeremy Fowler screwed it up. We're going to be saving about $775K with his release, and then taking on big $11.4 million in dead cap. So I presented that in a very grim manner. I presented that in a very depressing manner, but that's not how I feel about this situation. As you guys know, Dave Gettleman signed him to a big extension and backloaded his contract in 2020. So that's kind of why we're in this position. I'm going to fray from the popular opinion, like I said at the beginning of the video. I think a lot of people are overreacting to this. I really do. I know that there's going to be that possibility, and a lot of people are going to be talking about, the Giants shouldn't draft Kyle Hamilton at 5, because safety is now a need and all this other stuff. So I'll try to break it down as best as possible. A lot of people, the last few years, really last year, have been talking about, Logan Ryan's washed and all this other stuff. He's lost a couple of steps, right? And they've been trying to do these mocks, off seasons, or whatever they're trying to do. And they're saying, I would cut Logan Ryan, but, Dave Gettleman and Joe Judge are on this team and stuff like that, or whatever they would say. But to put it in perspective here, Dave Gettleman put us in the position because he backloaded the contract, and that was meant to be done, is not on accident, because he and the rest of the coaches thought this was going to be a winning team. Didn't work out that way. And as I mentioned, Logan Ryan lost a couple of steps last year. Had a great start to the season. Didn't end that way. And, just to frame back on it, I like the fact that Joe Shane ripped off the Band-Aid because, obviously next year there's a shit ton of guys you can cut. Adoree Jackson's one of them, I believe. Leonard Williams. There's a crap ton of guys you can cut for just $1 million in savings. And that's actually a lot of the 2020 draft class. So you can save a lot more by cutting guys next year than this year, obviously. Which would be contradictory to my statement, in my opinion. But I like how he rips off the Band-Aid now. Why keep Logan Ryan in a system where he's not going to fit and where he's just not going to be in the long term, rather than, okay, let's rip the Band-Aid off now. He'd go to a team where he fits, and that'll be in the story. We just have to take a dead cap it. And there's a lot of things that go into this. Is that, A, the New York Giants are not doing anything this year. Just going to be real honest with you guys. The New York Giants are not doing anything this year. It's a rebuild year, and this is a process that takes a few years. Part of that is that the New York Giants fan base, in my opinion, has not yet adjusted to the fact that this is a team that's not going to be building through free agency anymore. This is a team that's going to use all of its assets to supplement through free agency and any minor needs, and then go to the draft and select their own guys. So all this business of, $11 million cap hit, no. I think the Giants are done with free agency. They haven't made any moves within the last few hours since that Logan Ryan cut. And it would make sense to be done in free agency, my personal opinion, because I think they've done enough. And that's what is going to be done every year. I just think that the New York Giants fan base, and once again, $11 million, the cap hit, that's a big cap hit in terms of the dead cap hit. With that being said, it's not like it's going to prevent us next year from going out and getting some guys, but with all due respect to the rest of the fan base, we just haven't acclimated to the fact that we are going to build through the draft. That's what Joe Shane's process is. That's what the Buffalo Bills have been doing for the past couple of years. And the draft hasn't happened yet. Now I want to talk about Kyle Hamilton at 5. Now you could say, well, you're Notre Dame biased and all this stuff, right? Obviously, he could play anywhere, safety, man coverage, in the box, all that stuff. That's not going to translate to the NFL. Somebody came in for a second. That's not going to translate to the NFL because you don't play multiple positions like that. That's just not going to happen. But I do feel he would fit Wink's defense. I don't think there's a doubt about that. And in some cases, you have to take BPA at 5. Now, what situation would, you're asking me, what situation would I like him at 5? And this is an unpopular opinion, but I give you my honest opinion. I don't try to fray with the popular opinion. So you have, for example, you have Aquanu gone, you have Neal gone, you have Thibodeau gone, and you have Hutchinson gone. I would take him at 5 if you have no trade partners. Now, there's a possibility, yes, there could be trade partners. But if they're not wanting to give you what you want in terms of a trade back, don't do it. Select BPA, Kyle Hamilton. And here's the thing. Here's my honest opinion. A lot of these people out here, I'm going to be honest, are on the Sauce Gardner train at 7 overall. Not going to deny that he is a hell of an athlete. He's a good corner. He's the best corner in the draft. Does losing James Bradbury with the corners we have, at least right now, really make it a top priority to be selected in the first round? I don't think so. And you could really use that argument for safety as well. But you could also say, and even though this was Jerry Reese, a long time ago, oh, well, the New York Giants don't have a good history selecting corners in the first round, which I could use, anyone else can use in an argument, but once again, that was Jerry Reese. But I just don't get it, where people are saying, oh, well, they shouldn't draft safety in the first round. They got to take a cornerback. And that I just don't get, because you really have three capable corners right now, if you count James Bradbury out. You have Adoree Jackson, you have Darnay Holmes, and you have Aaron Robinson. I think all of them can play man coverage. Now, once again, they're not this regime's guys, but there will be guys in the draft that will be taken by the New York Giants that are cornerbacks and defensive backs overall. So, I don't know. I just find it a little hypocritical there. And I'm not necessarily a positional value guy. Oh, you can't take a safety at 5. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. If he's going to be a great player, a great cog for your defense for the next, 5, 10 years, why not, right? And I think a lot of people are scared of the fact that, let's just say Charles Cross gets taken at 6 or by a team in the teens, and we pass on him, and he goes to another team, he succeeds. A lot of people are going to be frightened to that. But you know what? Sometimes we got to stop looking off other teams, and I understand this whole argument of Kyle Hamilton could be used for Saquon Barkley in 2018 or Isaiah Simmons in 2020. And I'm not going to say that he's Micah Parsons, but we passed up on Micah Parsons. Trade down for Kadarius Toney. That's not looking good right now. However, with that being said, I believe safety is more of a need than cornerback right now. In my mock offseason, that never came out because I did a lot of things too late. I didn't have them selecting a cornerback because I don't feel that's a super need. You could get that in the later rounds. And I think a lot of Giant fans, personally, would be happy if the Giants traded back because it would make sense. We would get more picks. And that would, I would say, cure or treat the wound that Giants fans are feeling about this Logan Ryan thing. So we'll see. We'll see with this draft process. Having Logan Ryan as a placeholder, as many people thought in mind, I just did, why not rip off the Band-Aid? It's a rebuild. You're not going to be year one looking in free agency, oh, we got to sign Brandon Scherf to a mega contract or sign another wide receiver. That's not how the way it goes anymore. Joe Schoen has a process, and a lot of people love Joe Schoen. Now, some people are grim on him because of this one move. Honestly, I don't feel that, I don't feel that way. I really don't. And you look at safety now and, talking about these excuses, oh, why should we take Hamilton at 5? Well, and once again, I understand that's not positional value, which is something that Joe Schoen relies on in terms of analytics and the way he drafts and stuff like that. But look at the safety room now. Xavier McKinney. And people were saying, well, safety wasn't a need before the Logan Ryan release. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Because Julian Love in the long term is a role player at best. I'm sorry. I love my Notre Dame guys, but that's what Julian Love is. Xavier McKinney is the only long-term solution. J.R. Reed, Steven Parker, those guys are free agents. Even if they were re-signed role players, and you're really holding Logan Ryan for just one more year, when you could cut him, and then you could take somebody this year, whoever it is, and not pass up on them. And there's a couple ways that I'm going to formulate this than one in the video, because I know I've been going for 15 minutes. I would rather have Joe Schoen release Logan Ryan now, which is what he did. Take a guy wherever in terms of safety, whether it's Hamilton, whether it's Petre, whether it's JT Woods, Nick Cross, and have them work out their weaknesses in the beginning, show some great stuff for the future at the end of the season, rather than Logan Ryan be here as a placeholder, and either the Giants pass up on that guy because Logan Ryan is the placeholder, or Logan Ryan hogs all the snaps for most of the season, and we don't know shit about this safety that we drafted in this scenario. So it's a funny world that we live in as Giants fans. Obviously, we don't agree all the time, and I'm not trying to denounce anybody, but those are just my thoughts, and I'm not trying to be a homer. If anyone called me that, I think I would go ballistic, because that's the complete opposite of what I am. However, with that being said, not a homer, and I don't fray with the popular opinion. I give my thoughts 100% real all the time, and just to clean it off here, not talking about the Ricky Seals-Jones thing. Obviously, we did that in the beginning. I like the cutting of Logan Ryan. You rip off the Band-Aid. I know that in some scenarios, the contract may have been more friendly to cut next year, but what's the point of a placeholder in this scenario? And it would have been more of a bad decision if they cut Galladay or if they cut Leonard Williams this year, because it would have been more financially worse and worse for the team, because those two play significant roles. And I'm not saying Logan Ryan didn't play a significant role, but you could easily sign Deshaun Elliott, and he could take part of his role a little bit. Draft a safety, and that could be a good safety duo, right? Or trio, really. I mean, talk about a trio, and I know this won't happen. Talk about a trio: Deshaun Elliott, Kyle Hamilton, and Xavier McKinney. That's a good trio for the future. You take a guy like Nick Cross, maybe Jalen Petre, add him up with those two. You won't need to worry about Logan Ryan. So I honestly feel like a lot of Giant fans will feel better if Joe Schoen trades back and gets a great safety, whether it's selecting Hamilton and them reacting like the Daniel Jones pick, and then he turns out to be good, or they select Petre, they select Nick Cross, and then later on they feel bad about complaining, or they feel good about the prospect. And I don't know. I just feel like that the Giants fans have to get acclimated to this certain process that Joe Schoen wants to run here with Brian Daboll, and he wants to be more progressive. Not building through free agency, ripping off that Band-Aid, and building through the draft. Hope you guys like the video. Apologize for all the bad lighting in here. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you later.